Welcome on back, my beautiful peoples, to Four Boys and Their PCs. I believe
It's
we're on.
three.
Oh yeah, I guess it is 3 boys this week. Is this episode 5 or 6 or 4? I'm pretty sure it's 6, 5. It's one of them. But
It's not very consistent. We'll get there.
well, yeah, the schedule is something you iron out. But yeah, we're one boy short again. He's got life stuff happening, so it's all good.
He's got AIDS.
But
Big time.
got Michael and Austin here as usual.
Our Michael. He's Austin.
That is right. That's correct. Accurate. I would say accurate.
Topic today is the state of gaming, and like a jackass, I didn't put my phone on mute.
Wow. And I totally didn't hear it, so it's fine.
But yeah, so let's talk about the state of gaming, boys. We just had all the big showcases for the year.
It's awful. All gaming is awful.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not
I mean, not all of it.
It's all awful.
full of fucking... Oh, hang on.
Somebody's getting pizza. But I mean, it's not all bad. It just most of it is now.
It's all bad.
I mean, like,
That's a bit
there's not like much to be excited for. I mean, there's Starfield.
No,
Don't get me wrong. There's some good games like the Starfield looks cool.
Go on.
I'm really excited for Space Marine 2.
Yeah, Space Marine 2 does look really good.
And I think Avowed. I definitely will try Avowed when that comes out. That looks cool. And Fable. I might give Fable a shot, especially if they come to Games Pass, because it's like, hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played Fable, but I might check it out. I've always heard good things about the original games.
I played the first one and the second one. Never played the third one, and I really like the first two.
I think from what I've heard that the third one's kind of like the black sheep, so that makes, it's probably better that you haven't played that one.
I remember in the second one, you could like bang prostitutes, you could marry a lady and then murder her, and then marry another lady. It was pretty cool.
How do you get a hold of this game?
It's pretty great, let me tell you. You get really fat though, let me tell you.
Oh god.
Like if you eat too much food, your character will get really fat.
0
and
out of 10.
No matter what I did, my character always got fat as shit. And Fable too.
Well, I mean, over the past, let's say 5-ish years, I can think of, I mean, off of the top of my head, like maybe 4 or 5 games that I thought were really, really good. Like there's Elden Ring, there's, obviously Tears of the Kingdom. What are we in? 2023 was Red Dead. That was 2018, wasn't it?
That was 20. Was that 18 or 16?
I want to say it's 18. I don't think it's that old because Witcher 3 came out in 2015.
No, you're right. It's got to be 2018.
Because that was definitely one of the good ones. I think that's still in my top 3 games of all time.
Yeah, 2018. October 26, 2018 is when Red Dead 2 came out.
Okay.
I've only played through that game once, but man, it was such a good game.
And and there's definitely more than that, but in the grand scheme of things, when how many, I don't have a number for how many games have come out in that span of time, but to have a handful that you could think of, and that's if you really try to think of it, if you, just go off the top of your head like I just did, there's not many games I can think of that were really good.
Yeah. I mean,
the ones I played were just the ones I really liked. So,
yeah.
I never owned that many video games in the 360 era.
Yeah. Well, I think I owned a lot, but that was still during the trade-in era of video games.
Yeah.
So when I wanted a new game, I'd trade in all my games to get a new one.
I know. I could go back in time and like kick myself in the face.
I know. I'd have such a massive collection.
Yeah, dude. I had so many really cool, like, they weren't good games, but they were rare.
I used to have the special boxed edition of Gears 3 that came with like a metal cog, and it literally was like a big ass box. that the
Oh
game
god,
was in and everything.
was really disappointing is through that whole all these game fests. There wasn't an announcement for a remaster of all 3 Gears of War games.
That actually, you just
That
reminded
would be
me.
pretty cool.
We also still have no idea what's going on with the next Gears of War. It's been forever. I feel like the
Yeah,
turnaround between Gears 4 and Gears 5 was pretty quick. And then we got like a teaser, I think, at one point for Gears 6, and it's been radio silent ever since. I'm going to have to figure out when that was because I feel like it's been forever. And I'm really
yeah, and
shocked,
I just
especially with the state of Xbox, that they're not trying to, push one of their biggest hitters.
well, and I could be wrong, but I mean they just like kept updating Gears of War 5. Like, haven't they just kind of like turned that into a live service game, sort of? I mean, I haven't played
I'm
it in a
not
while,
sure.
but every time I've played it, it always seemed like they added so much more shit. So I don't know. I mean, I really want like the OG Gears of War's remastered because I know like we had the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War, but I know Jake, you and I were talking about it earlier. Like that is such a bad fucking PC port. Like literally, like with me, I have a RTX 2080 Super and a Ryzen 9 5900X processor. And that game, like running on low settings, I'd get between 30 and 60 frames per second because it's just such
Well,
an
and it
awful
makes no
port.
sense. It's coming from Xbox, the guys that
Yeah, you
work for
think.
fucking Microsoft.
That is
Well,
awful.
it's just, and so like, I want them to like completely like just get rid of the Ultimate Edition, just pull it from PC stores, and like, I would pay $60 for a remaster of all 3. And I don't mean like they don't have to change the graphics, they don't have to do anything crazy. I just want like, a proper port to new modern consoles, like for the consoles, they could play at like 4K or 1440p,
Right.
whatever it is they
I
do,
think if they
and
did
then
that, though, they should
a
include
proper
Judgment.
PC port. I want a proper PC port too,
Yeah.
like of all 3. Fucking Judgment is a fever dream, man. I remember I got that and I beat it in like a night, and
Yeah, I
that's
don't,
all
and
I.
that's why I want them to include it because I feel like a lot of people share that same sentiment. Like I played through it with my dad, like I did all of the original ones back in the day, and I don't remember shit from it because I just
I
kind of played it once and then I
remember
was done.
it kind. Fuck yeah, I kind of want to go through and play it again because
All
I
I
really
know
don't
is
remember.
that it was like Baird was the leader. I think it was
I
his
remember
team.
they changed like how the game played a little bit,
Yeah,
from
and
what
they
I
added
remember.
some weapon variety too.
Yeah.
But I think they should do that, like all 4 of those in kind of like a Master Chief collection type deal.
Hell yeah! Oh my god, dude, I'd pay $60 for that,
I'd
especially if it
I'd
was a
pay
good.
I'd pay $100 for that. Those are 4
Well,
really good games. Well, I mean,
well,
Judgment is
don't.
iffy.
Well, Jake, you price things out differently than most.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
the
just
average
saying, if
consumer.
they were
The average
actual
consumer.
remasters, they all had multiplayer support, all their DLC. I think that's worth $100, especially when games nowadays like Mister I spent $100 on Diablo 4 and I'm gonna spend $100 on Starfield. If we're paying $100 for one game, we shouldn't have a problem with paying $100 for 4 good ones.
I
That,
have huge issues with that.
yeah, no,
Don't ask me about those issues.
What are
yeah,
your
because
what are your issues?
No,
well,
I
first
won't.
of
I
all,
won't defend them.
game shouldn't be $70.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
See,
that's a
I
fucking
kind of go
shame.
back and
It
forth
should
on
be
that.
5.
I don't think it's I agree to it to an
It's
extent
just
because I think that
all it is they just want to make more money. That's all it is. It has
you're
nothing to do
absolute.
with the rising cost. People can say, "Oh, inflation! This games cost more money to make." Blah, blah, blah. No, it's just there because they are corporations.
They want
Their
more
job,
money. You're
their
absolutely
job
right.
at the end of the day is to make fucking money. And once fucking Sony was like, "Oh, our PS5 games are really high quality. You got to pay $70 for our games." And then other developers were like, "Well, shit, if they can do it, then so can I." Like the fucking Nintendo released Tears of the Kingdom for 70 fucking dollars on it's not even a next gen game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's running on older hardware, and they were like, "Oh, well, Sony can do it. I'm going to do it too." It's like, fuck you guys. And then they wonder why piracy runs so rampant. You know what I mean? Like, go fuck
I do agree that it's just because they want more money, but the difference for me, well, not the difference, the thing that I can see that, oh Jesus, what am I trying to say? It doesn't bug me
No
as
one
much
knows.
because games were $60 for over 20 years. Like, it took them over 20 years to finally charge $10 more for it.
That's fair.
However, I don't think that a lot of the games that come out are worth $70 because they're buggy, broken, and unfinished. That I don't approve of. I don't approve of spending $70 on anything like that. I wouldn't spend 60, I wouldn't spend 30, I wouldn't spend 20 on something that's broken and unfinished,
But
which I
state of
definitely
gaming
still
is
do.
awful.
But
It's
Yeah.
horrible, man.
but
Yeah,
that's why it doesn't bug me so much. Not because they're broken and stuff, but because they stayed 60 for like over 20 years, and then the split second they change, everybody freaks out. It's like, okay, if you're freaking out for the right reasons, like these games are broken, I support it. But if you're freaking out just because they're 10 more bucks, it's like, dude, calm down. They were this other price for. They gave us more than enough time to get used to the idea of paying a little bit extra money.
and really, I mean, I feel like it's relative to you because, like, whoever you are, because your $60 is not the same as my $60.
Yeah,
But
right.
60,
Like there are
yeah,
some people who can only buy one game a
like
year. That I
there
can
might
get.
be some people that think spending $1,500 or $2,000 on a guitar is stupid, but to someone like me who can appreciate, what goes into that, is like, or you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like, oh, that's not that bad for a guitar,
Right.
because I realize how expensive this shit can get or whatever. And it's I guess in a sense it's really relative to you. It's like, what are you willing to spend? If it's something for a video game that's just meant for entertainment, what are you willing to spend
Yeah.
on
Because
a
I mean,
game?
it's not like even if it was just $60, that's a lot of money. That's like, you know, due to inflation and stuff, it doesn't get you as much as it used to. But that's something that you can be used for, valuable things at the grocery store and stuff. But like
Yeah.
to me, it's I don't even give it a second thought because I'm so passionate about video games. If it's something I want to play, I'm gonna get it. And even though I don't agree with
You will
buying
whore
games and
yourself for that money.
yeah, even though I don't agree with buying games and stuff that are broken and unfinished, I've done it plenty of times in the past few years. Even more recently with Jedi Survivor, which I still think was a fucking phenomenal game. I played through the whole thing with horrible frame rate issues.
Oh yeah. And see, like, I'm the type of person that's like, you're gonna charge me $70 and your game's not even gonna function. And then the ironic part is that part of the reason why it was one of the reasons why it was so bad was because of Denuvo, which is an anti-piracy thing. And the pirated version of Jedi Survivor actually runs better than the standard
What?
version of Jedi Survivor. Yeah, because DRM.
That's the most
whole
ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
yeah,
Is that true?
that's a lot of times the DRM in games is what can cause frame rate issues. Now, with Jedi Survivor specifically, I think a lot of it had to do with the shader caching and just developers being straight up fucking and not knowing how to develop for PC. And I swear to God, before people say, "Oh, PC's harder to develop for, there's so many more configurations," all fucking games, regardless of what graphics card you have, they use DirectX, some version of DirectX. A
Yeah.
lot of newer games are using DirectX 12. A lot of ones are using DirectX 11. And the fact that, like, it's not true when people say, "Oh, it's just harder to develop for." The
They
fact that, like,
program it on a PC.
well, and there's
Everything
indie,
comes from the PC to the console.
and the fact that there's indie developers out there that are teams of 2 to 4 people that can do a better job than these AAA studios, and not only doing console releases but then having perfect, like, really good PC ports. It's like, no, you guys are just fucking lazy, and all you care about is making sure the console ports are fine. And not even then, because I heard Jedi Survivor even on consoles was not running very well.
No, yeah, it
So
had
it's like,
problems everywhere. It was
it's
not
like,
ready to
holy
be
fuck.
released.
Yeah, and they charge $70 for a
It's
fucking game that could barely. Yeah, you can't even if you had a 4090, it was hard to reach 60 frames per second. It's like, Jesus Christ,
it's
dude.
gotten to a point, I think we all talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, where it doesn't matter what a developer says or even shows. Like there's zero trust, I think, for people like us that are hardcore gamers that actually are passionate about it. You could say whatever you want. As far as I'm concerned, you're blowing smoke out of your ass.
Yeah, like with Starfield, like their Starfield Direct, I'll admit it was really cool.
It was.
And I think it looks like a fun game. But I want the game in my hands. Like that was something I think I said a lot in the last podcast was, we can say all these things and speculate all this shit, but until I have the game in my hands and I can play it for myself, I don't really know. Like, yeah, it looks cool. The spaceship building looks fucking great. All that's flying around space
and a giant penis.
If I could fly into a black hole, that'd be fucking awesome. But until I can get the game on my hands, I don't know. It could be everyone's hyping it up, and it's like I can see why you got excited, but Jesus Christ,
we should know by now that trailers mean nothing.
Yeah, they don't.
All the way back to the original Watch Dogs reveal, or despite how the game is now, the trailer, E3 trailer, back when E3 was alive, R.I.P., the E3 trailer for Fallout 76 looked great. It looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, dude.
Me, you, Brian, we were like, hell yeah, dude. This game looks so good.
Fucking dollars for a piece of shit unfinished game. And you know what? Even though, like you were saying earlier, Jake, I spent $100. Well, not $100. It was like 97. It was just after tax.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah,
it was $3 less. I am an asshole. I need to do my research.
Mean a lot to someone, but like at least Diablo 4, it at least functioned. And on top of that, I guess it depends on who you are. I really fucking like it.
Well, and that
more or less. If you like Diablo, you'll probably like Diablo, and it actually fucking functions. I mean, I still want to wait and see what happens when Season 1 comes out and that Battle Pass comes out. Yeah, if they add pay to win shit, I'm gonna rip my fucking cock off.
Yeah, because I've already seen that they do have microtransactions, but it's all cosmetic, and that's not something I have an issue with.
I couldn't care less because I already like the way my character looks now from just the items I've been finding in the game. So it's like, yeah, I couldn't care less.
The only time I ever have an issue with that is when it's apparent that they took stuff out of the main game, so they had stuff to sell.
Yeah. That's a problem with a lot of fucking games now. It's like why fucking make a complete product when you can fucking give them a half-baked one and then be like, oh, we'll fix it later. It's like, fuck that shit, man.
And it goes back to what you were saying. It's about what your money is worth to you, and you're a big Diablo fan, so it's not gonna bug you to spend more money on a game.
Yeah, and I mainly pre-ordered it right when the early access beta was coming out, because they're like, if you pre-order it, you could gain access to the beta, and I was like, oh, I was like, I want to try it now. Plus, I'm very fucking so the audience should know that. For the 200 people listening, I'm retarded. So don't take any advice I say, literally or truthfully at all, because I'm not a smart person. I paid $100 for Diablo 4. Pre-ordered it, a Blizzard game.
Hey, but you like the game.
I'm part of the problem.
Oh, yeah, so am I. I pre-order anything I'm excited for, and then even if it's broken, I'll still, to a degree, defend it if I'm enjoying it.
I will only pre-order. Well, maybe in the next Hogwarts Legacy game. I'll probably pre-order that one.
That's hilarious, because all you do now is shit talk that game.
Hey, I'm giving them a chance. Because I think I don't know, there wasn't that much to do in the first Hogwarts Legacy game.
I thought that game was going to be an MMO.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Too.
I must have. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just saw a trailer, and I assumed it was going to be an MMO. And then when I found out it was single player, I was like, it'd be so much cooler if it was like all these students flying around on brooms were actual people.
That would have been kind of interesting, but I'm not a big fan of MMOs. I probably wouldn't have liked it.
Well, I mean, it was just kind of it was mid. It was really fucking. It wasn't.
It was completely mid.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad game unless you were playing on PC. The first couple of days, it was unfucking playable.
Yeah.
Like it was completely fucking broken. Because from what I don't know if this is true, but I heard it had a memory leak problem. Which for the people that don't know, memory leak is essentially where the game keeps eating up more and more VRAM. So it'll be like, oh, I need 6 gigabytes. Now I need 12. Now I need 18. Now I need 24. Now I need, and most consumer end graphics cards right now have between 8 to 12 gigs of VRAM, which is more than enough for most games. And so, like, yeah, it's just like, guys really didn't fucking think of that. And then my girlfriend, who plays on PS5, fucking game ran just fine. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, because that's what everybody's focused on now, is because that's where the real money is to be made when it comes to video games, is console users.
Well, but even then, Sony has fucking realized, like, wow, PC gamers aren't going to pay $500 for this plastic box that's inferior to their PC. We should start porting our games to PC. And now look at that. They're fucking making even more money than they have.
Which is something they haven't really talked about in a while, because they released a few of them, and it's been quite a long time since they've released another one, which is kind of frustrating. I don't expect it to be day one.
You want to know what really grinds my gears?
What is it?
Fucking Nintendo. They are so against piracy, but they refuse to port their games to PC. You want to know why we emulate your games on PC? Because you don't fucking sell them to us on PC. Put up a fucking store on PC, and then they'll start, like, they're literally losing money. Like, there are so many people that would pay all this fucking money if they had a proper PC port of their old Nintendo games. I would. Dude, I'd pay $20 to $25 for a proper PC port of Super Mario World. Even though that game is fucking, like, oh my god. Kat and I played that last weekend. Old games are fucking not balanced at all. That game made me want to fucking just rip my off and throw it at the goddamn TV because, But I would pay $20 for it for a proper PC port. For Super Mario Galaxy, I'd pay a little bit of money for a proper PC port. But then anytime anyone on YouTube is like, hey, here's how to emulate this, old Nintendo game on PC, Nintendo's like, nope, you can't do that. We're going to shut it down. I've even heard they sued, like, they sue people all the fucking time. Like, one dude got sued for, I don't know what he did. He did something with ROMs or something. And then Nintendo recently, Dolphin, which is a Nintendo emulator for Wii and, like, I believe GameCube and other different games, it was going to release on Steam. And then Nintendo shut it down. Even though it was going to release on Steam for free, it was going to be a free fucking download. Nintendo was like, oh, you can't do that. It's like, fuck you.
Well, it's fucking Nintendo. They're never going to make their stuff not exclusive.
Weren't they the ones that were once saying video games aren't art and shit like that?
Nintendo, if you're gonna make your fucking games exclusive, I'm gonna keep fucking pirating them, and you can suck my fat fucking white. I'm sorry, I've had a few drinks, but man, that pisses me off. Fuck Nintendo. That's all I have to say about that. I'm gonna keep pirating their fucking games.
And I do think they're losing out on money because they could definitely be making money on PC, but they're definitely not hurting. The Switch is on its way to be the best-selling console.
I'm sure they're not hurting, but the whole like we said, the whole point of a corporation is to grow and make money. If you want to grow, fucking port that shit to PC. Sony's been doing it. Even though The Last of Us was one of the worst PC ports ever, Joel did blackface, #canceled.
Is that what happened? What?
Yeah, it was literally a shader issue, and it looked like Joel had blackface. There was like screenshots going around. It was pretty fucking funny. Yeah, he was literally so broken that Joel looked like he had blackface on.
Again, man, just these games, they release unfinished.
Yeah, exactly. And that game released a remake of an old game that has already been remastered was $70 fucking dollars,
Yeah.
and it was an unplayable piece of shit.
I'm sure that a lot of that comes from pleasing their investors and a whole bunch of crap like that.
Well,
yeah,
games are not made like they used to be.
That's the whole thing. Is it's taken on the corporation role of it's all about appeasing investors, and you know, and in a sense, I get it. You have a business, you want to make money. I love money. I would love to make a shitload of money. And it comes to a point where all you care about is making money, and this whole idea of if you invest in a game company, you want to see your investment grow, and you want to see a quick return. So these investors, all they care about is fucking money. All they care about is they want to see a quick return, and they're like, well, you got to release this game sooner because I want to see a return on my money. It's exactly what happened with Cyberpunk. That's what happened with Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite was 343 being fucking and lo and behold, another thing with Halo, this is a different sidetrack, but hey, it's a podcast, you're just supposed to talk about shit, right? 343 lost most of their upper management, has either resigned or left the company, and now Halo Infinite has been having consistent updates and they're actually having good content. It's like, wow, look at that. All of a sudden the upper management's gone and Halo Infinite's doing a lot better.
What
Isn't
a
that
surprise.
fucking insane? Yeah, it's like, oh, dude.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, gaming has become a lot more about the money now and corporate.
Yeah.
And I can't say I blame him because I'd be doing the same thing if I were in that position.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. You want to make money, but like, if you're into the hobby, it fucking sucks, man.
Well, especially when we know if you're making quality stuff, you're still gonna make money.
Yeah, if you're a consumer, it fucking sucks because when we were younger, man. I mean, it's not me because I'm not that old. It's not me just being an old jaded fucking clown. Video games were better when we were kids, 100%. You got a complete product. Yeah, occasionally there would be games that would suck, or there'd be, a game that was a glitch-filled mess. But for the most part, you got a completed product. You got a game that you could sit down and put time into. And nowadays, it's just that's not really what you get. I mean,
despite the fact that it's definitely 100% more corporate and based on the investors, I do think, I mean, I know nothing about game development, but I do think that there is a small part of it that games are somewhat getting harder to make because of how extensive, like, I mean, back in the day, let's say an N64 game, like I said, I know nothing about game development, but you didn't have to make that much, but like another good example, Assassin's Creed Wow. Wow.
You're gonna have to censor that one.
No, that's getting cut for sure. But like comparing a game like Ocarina of Time or Super Mario 64 to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that game had, its open world game, but then the ocean had an entirely different engine running inside the game. And I can't imagine,
that was pretty fucking cool when that
it was
came
cool.
out. I remember.
And I don't know anything about
PS4,
development, but I can't imagine that made it easier to make that game. And that was back in, I don't even know when that came out, sometime around 2012, 2013, right when Xbox One came out. So I can't imagine games have gotten easier to make, especially when you have all these advanced systems like ray tracing and all that stuff.
I don't know. I have, like we're not developers. None of us are. I think, Michael, you've 3D printed some stuff. Oh, yeah. So that's you have more
games.
Yeah, so you realistically have more experience with what goes into this shit. I mean, you don't, but you have a slight
video
idea.
Game specifically,
but you know what it takes to craft a 3D model of something.
Oh,
and
God,
then, and then to not only do that, but then if you're making a video game, you'd have all sorts of other shit. I don't know why I was talking about that. But Jake, you said video games are getting harder. I've actually, I mean, I don't know because not a developer, but I've heard with like all these tools with Unreal Engine 4 and 5 now, it's actually more accessible to get into game development now than ever.
Well, I think you're right.
And it's really prevalent with that. If you're on Steam, the amount of asset flips you see where people go to either the Unity or the Unreal asset store, they buy a bunch of assets, shittily put together a game and charge $20 for it and then throw it out on the market.
Well,
But
I
mean,
think it is probably more accessible. My thought process is not only do they still have to do that, but it's all the other systems that are being implemented now. Like, I'm sure, I mean, like he does with every game during the Starfield Direct, Todd Howard talked for probably 5 minutes about their insane new lighting system. And that's kind of the stuff I'm talking about, is all the systems on top of each other and then running them seamlessly, especially with most games nowadays. The scope of them is much larger than anything we've seen.
Well, and specifically with Bethesda has always done that. You know what I mean? They have always tried to push for making not necessarily the biggest, but the most interactive world possible. And like, that's just like Michael, how you were saying you didn't like Hogwarts Legacy because there just wasn't like a lot of interactivity. Like, you couldn't just go through the school and Avada Kedavra every student you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. That's
but if it was a Bethesda game, unless they were an essential NPC, well, even then you can. I mean, even if they're essential, they'll get knocked unconscious and be like, "What are you doing?" You know, you can still
good heavens!
Yeah, you can still attack him if you wanted to. And like that type of freedom is just like, it's hard to do. You know what I mean? And that's why Bethesda
that's why they're special.
Yeah, they do what they do. And you know, the more I think about it, like the whole like people arguing about the 30 FPS to 60 FPS thing. I mean, really, it's a console. So what the fuck are you gonna do? You're on a console. Like you're gonna be limited to that hardware. But even on PC, like I said, I don't know about game development, so I don't know. But like, I can almost kind of forgive Bethesda's performance issues. Like, I've always been like me. I like to play games ideally at 144 frames per second. I like high refresh rates and that really smooth frame rate. And it always pissed me off that it's like, why can't these Bethesda games run at a perfect 144 hertz? But the more I think about it, like, having all those systems and all that interactivity is just like, and then to on top of that, worry about performance. I can kind of see why Todd is like the type of person that's like, you know, I'm fine with 30 frames per second. Even though I think that's disgusting, you shouldn't be fine with it. 60 should be the bare minimum.
Well,
in the modern day.
And
in the modern day.
Yeah, and as far as we know, one of the main reasons for that 30 FPS lock on console is because he wants this game to look better than any game they've made. Well, and to be fair, the footage we saw definitely showed that. Some of the landscapes they showed and the vegetation looked pretty good.
Maybe it's that, but at the same time, I'm also, because like modern gaming, is Starfield going to even finish released? Or is it going to finish
released?
Other way
around.
Is it
going to? Wow, holy shit! Again, a little high, a little drunk. Yeah, good God. But yeah, is it even going to release finished? That's
actually that's something I wanted to talk about.
Is the 30 frames per second because is that true? Is Todd like, oh yeah, it's because I want it to look good? Or is it like a Redfall situation where they're like, oh, this game isn't launching with the 60 frames per second, that's coming later because this game's an unfinished piece of shit that the developers didn't even want to fucking make because it was forced onto them. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that Redfall is a different game, you know. I know that the team there wants to make Starfield, obviously, but like their game is fucking ambitious. It's a huge fucking game. It's bigger than anything that they have done, and that's a lot of fucking work. And at the end of the day, as great as these guys are, they're only fucking human. You know what I mean? If I had to sit behind a computer for 10 to 12 hours a day programming something, I'd want to fuck. You know what I mean? So like we'll just like I said earlier, like I want the game in my hands. I want to see how it plays. And I hope to God that it's just at least stable and it runs on PC. And you know, maybe we'll be hopefully surprised. Like I said earlier with the Diablo 4, I was expecting that game to be broken. I was expecting it to like I would have like 5-hour queue times. Like the longest queue time I had logging into the game was less than a minute. Like usually 10 to 20 seconds, and then bam, I'm in. And I'll admit I was pleasantly surprised. I was really expecting Diablo 4 to just be a buggy piece of shit. And I've seen the occasional bugs when I play with multiplayer, like with Craig. Like occasionally I've noticed things loading in slowly. But other than that, like it's been a functional game. So maybe hopefully Starfield can do that too. Because I feel like Xbox specifically, they really need this. They need this win.
They do,
because,
and I'm glad you brought it up because something that we didn't get a chance to talk about in our Starfield podcast is that I'm sure it's pretty obvious questions like that were brought up with Todd, and he said that not only him, who has several playthroughs that he's going through right now, he's got a lot of people at Bethesda working on it, and Phil Spencer, and like we said earlier, words are just words. It doesn't mean I trust what they're saying, but Phil Spencer said that every single QA tester in Xbox's company is playing through Starfield right now. So hopefully that
wish they would have done that for Redfall, but
yeah, hopefully that means somebody finally woke up and realized we need to stop releasing unfinished games. Especially when the guys that did Redfall literally said they were hoping the game was going to get canceled because they just straight up didn't want to be working on the game, which, if I was the head of a company, I would probably see that as a bit of a red flag.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, just keep going back to the same points. It's a corporation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
there
to
make
make
money.
money.
They don't care.
And there's
people
this,
are passionate or not.
that's this thing is there's this duality. And I think that's why we're seeing indie games really save the scene, is because indie games, they're indie, they're not corporate. So it's like a lot of these, like, even though Jake, you didn't like it, BattleBit Remastered is a game that just launched on Steam. It's like a sort of like a spiritual successor to the old Battlefields of the olden days of yore. And it's made by 3 people. It has more maps and more guns than most AAA games have ever launched with in the past 5 years. And it's got all this fucking content to, I think, like 254 player servers, where you literally have 254 people fighting together in a map. And hang on, someone just knocked at my door. What was that? Oh, it's the pizza. We're good. Anyway, but yeah, it amazes me that these small indie studios that just have so few people, and they can do all this shit these AAA studios just can't seem to do anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And I personally, I played a little bit of it, and I didn't really enjoy the game, but the little bit of it I played ran really well, and I had no issues getting into a game.
Yeah, you had no... Exactly. And how many AAA games, especially multiplayer, have we had where it's like, oh, let's go play the new Call of Duty, and it's like we can't get into a game for 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, I
or
can't
we get into a game, one of us disconnects, one of us has a game crash, one of us, and it's just like, oh my god.
I can't remember the last multiplayer game that came out that had a somewhat stable enough launch for us to even play. Even some of the smaller games, like I don't think Sons of the Forest was that hard for us to play together, but I thought there was some issues, and on top of that, the game wasn't really that fun in my opinion. So.
I didn't mind it. It was more or less more of the Forest, and if you like the first Forest, I think you'll like the second one. But I don't remember any performance problems, but
there was definitely frame rate issues, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'm sure there was, but I don't remember like crashes. I remember the game at least functioning.
Yeah, I don't think there was like crashes and stuff.
No, I remember we were able to. It was really fucking easy for us to just boot up, and I created a server, and bam, you guys joined. It was easy and it worked.
I think that game would have been a lot better if they implemented a character transfer type thing, Because I probably would have played
Yeah,
the
you
crap
can't
out of that
transfer.
game with you guys, but I didn't want to have
Your
to
character
start a
is limited
character.
to a server.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
annoying.
was tired of going back to literally the entire map, and they added in like a segue or something to make it a little faster, but the thing is so hard to control that it doesn't really make things faster because you're just flying off of it every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just games are just not good. They're not good anymore. And it's really sad because we have the technology and the stuff to make games better than they ever have been, and we have been proven of that fact several times in the past 5 or 6 years or so when we get really good video games, but they're a dime a dozen now.
Yeah, it's like rare to have a game now that just functions on release, and
That's not allowed to happen, I don't think.
it's not allowed. That's a new rule.
I think if you don't put out an apology statement, the investors' stocks go down.
Probably.
Yeah,
and I think they all borrow the same template for the apology message too.
And
pretty sure.
The other day when I was making my Starfield video on transportation and how we didn't see if there's a way to like use a vehicle or something on the planets to get from point A to point B. Shameless plug, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on my channel. But one of the first comments on it was a guy that said, it's not a big deal. Not, oh my God, I'm not even drunk. He said, it's not a big deal. Modders will fix this. And that made me so incredibly sad because that's the mindset of video games now, especially if you're a PC player, because it's, you know, for the most part, it's kind of up to the players to come up with creative ways to fix a broken game until the devs decide to release 17 patches that slowly but surely makes it better with every patch until 2 years later when that 17th patch finally makes the game how it should have been when it launched.
I feel like you were just talking about Cyberpunk there. Well, you sounded exactly like Cyberpunk.
You're not wrong. I mean, that it took a long time before the game was even somewhat playable, and even to this day it still has some small bug issues, but for the most part it's a pretty decent and stable game now, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I don't enjoy playing the game.
Yeah, see, the thing is with that game is even if it wasn't a bug-filled mess at launch, it wasn't that good of an open world to explore, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was nothing compared to The Witcher for me. I still think The Witcher 3 is the best fantasy RPG we've ever had.
Yeah, that game was really good. I think I should re-download that and try to get on Steam with the new next-gen update.
Yeah, and speaking of next-gen update, apparently, and it'll come to PC as well, apparently Fallout 4 is getting one this year.
I was getting a next-gen? Oh, shit. Seriously?
I'm serious.
That's going to get me to re-download it.
It's supposedly going to update for the new systems, a PC, and just like Skyrim, it'll have Creation Club editions. Possibly even a whole new DLC.
Good Lord, it's not that much really, but I have 120 hours put into just the Steam version.
I don't know how much I have. Re-downloaded
That's for The Witcher.
I was going to start modding Fallout 4 again, but then I just decided I didn't want to get into modding. It's too much work.
I like modding. I think it's fun.
I do think it's fun, but I know myself. I'll mod the crap out of it, think it's really cool, play it for maybe 15 hours, and then uninstall it, and that's just not worth the time.
For me, honestly, as weird as it sounds, it's almost more fun for me downloading a bunch of mods and then figuring out how to get them to all work and then getting it to work and then seeing it work in your
playing with the mods.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, I got it to work. It's like, I don't know. It's like I almost have more fun like doing that shit.
I could see that. It's because it's kind of like a puzzle. Sometimes it's a nightmare to get. I can't tell you how many times I've put 60 plus mods into Skyrim, but I only got 49 of them to actually work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it is, because theoretically modding a game, especially that much, you would think I'm going to enjoy this game so much more now because it's like I made my own game. But then I start playing it and I enjoy it at first, but then I just get kind of mad. I'm like, why didn't the devs just make this game? Why do I have to make this? And then that kind of takes all the fun out of it for me. I know it's really weird, but that's just how it works with me. Unless it's like simple stuff, like adding a holster to make sure your gun's not just floating on your back. Little things like that are just quality of life improvements that don't bug me that much. But yeah, I just end up getting mad that the devs didn't make this game in the first place. And then I stop playing.
That's one thing that I was thinking about with Starfield that I wasn't really realizing earlier is holy fuck, the mod potential.
Yeah, it's a Bethesda game in space with over 1,000 planets. Like this could be the next Skyrim. It could be.
I hope it is. I hope
I do too. I just hope it's the next Skyrim, but better. Because as much as I love Skyrim, I also hate Skyrim. So I don't want Starfield to be a game that I eventually hate because of how ridiculous and overused and oversold it is.
Yeah. I mean, I love Skyrim, but
I think what really excited me when I started thinking of Starfield and mod potential is I hope to God somebody gets a co-op mod going ASAP.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Because that would be so cool. Playing a single-player game with your buddy that's a Bethesda game that's not Fallout 76. I realized as I was saying that I was describing Fallout 76. I was like, I don't want a Fallout 76 space game.
I was about to jump on that one.
I knew you were wiggling your butt and you were getting ready to pounce.
I was about to.
Yeah, I just got this image in my head of Michael's face on one of my cats, and it's wildly disturbing.
That's really wrong.
Kind of hot.
But yeah, is there any last things you guys had to say about the state of gaming right now?
No.
Michael, I'm sure you have something.
Yeah, you've been awfully quiet back there. You got that big, sexy, deep voice.
No.
It's good for the views. Show us your toes.
If you ask me nicely, maybe.
Ooh.
You heard it here first. Down in the comments, if you're still with us, ask for Michael's toes. He'll do it.
Nicely, though. It's going to be very nice.
The way you say it with your voice and everything, it sounds so much creepier.
Wanted to be real nice.
It's got to be real nice.
But yeah, the state of the games is just not good. I hope it'll get better, but I don't think it's. I think we're kind of on a downhill. It's never really gonna go back up unless someday the investors say, like, you know what, screw money. Let's just make sure we're giving money to people that are passionate and give them the time they want.
If human greed disappears, then yeah, we'll start having good games.
Which I mean, and it's not going to. I mean. We're here making a podcast because we enjoy talking about this stuff, but the inevitable goal is to make money.
That's the goal of everything.
Well, it's the goal there, yeah. That's the goal of life there, bud.
It's the way the world works. It's shitty, but not a lot we can do about it unless aliens land and they take over.
Apparently they did in Las Vegas. But
supposedly.
Dude, that really pissed me off. Someone was like, all over TikTok, people are like, look, you can see the photo of an alien right here. And they zoom in on something really blurry, and then they like do a little doodle of an alien. And they're like, can't you see it right here? And it's like, well, yeah, because of your fucking doodle, my brain can fill in the blanks. But like, how is there not, like, in this day and age of modern smartphones, like especially Android phones can zoom in so fucking far and have such good quality.
We are the superior race.
How have they not fucking gotten a clear photo or video of an alien or a UFO? Like, even the Pentagon's like, oh, we have UFO videos we're releasing, and it's fucking this blurry little photo of like what looks like a little dot going really fast.
That's like, we're definitely getting way off track here, but I think it's because, you know, that's part of the mystery keeps it going. Like, for example, Bigfoot, if back in the day that picture was proven to be real, 10 years after that, nobody would have been talking about it. Who cares?
Well, like, and how is no one show me a fucking perfect fucking 4K beautiful, crystal clear 16:9 photo of fucking Bigfoot. Show me a photo of Bigfoot jerking off, and he's like getting caught jerking off.
Because
then
the
I'll
mystery
believe
would
it's real.
die, and it wouldn't be fun to look at. You would get over it. It would be like, okay, cool, new species discovered. Moving on.
I just want to watch Bigfoot jerk off. That's all.
I think
That's
that's
all
made, I
he's
think that's
asking
been made very clear.
Make that into a YouTube short.
But yeah,
Jerk off.
yeah, that's all we got for you. And if you're an alien out there and you're listening, use some of your
Please.
space phones and send us a pic of your
Hey,
toes.
if you're an alien and you're out there listening, can you just take me to your planet where, like, you know, just take me far away from this place? I just want to see.
I just want to go up there and have sex with an octopus woman.
Oh,
Maybe, okay, don't take Jake, but take me. Take me for, like, enlightenment. Jake will just want to bang you. So, aliens, if you're listening out there, take me with you.
8 limbs, man. That's something to think about.
What?
that's the thing.
And we'll catch you in the next one.